Hey guys, Kinsey here, and I'm here in beautiful New Westminster, British Columbia for the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo. Super excited to be here. This expo is always a lot of fun. It's really relaxed for me, which is fantastic. It's a little bit more like an actual vacation, so it's awesome. Super excited to get some great deals, hopefully, pick up a lot of games. So hopefully the vendors have some nice treasures for me. And after this video, when I get home, I'm going to show you some of the pickups. So it's going to be really exciting. And this is my third year at this expo. And last year I got to check out a whole bunch of the local breweries as well. So I hope I get to do that this year. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Thanks. Hey guys, I'm back in Seattle after my trip to the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo, and I have quite a few games to show you guys. And I also want to tell you a little bit about my trip. So, when we last talked, I was in New Westminster getting ready to go to the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo. And that show was awesome. I kind of like that it's only a one-day convention, because then, like, I don't know, you get to see everything. It's not like PAX where it's 3 days of exhaustion. It's more, I want to pack as much into this day as I can and not die after 3 days. So it's just one day, which was awesome. And there were so many vendors there. They had like a bar upstairs. We went to the improv group, which was hilarious. So they had a free play room. It was a fantastic expo, and I had so much fun there. And while I was in Vancouver, I also visited quite a few breweries. So I went to Main Street Brewing, of course, Granville Island Brewing. I go there every single time I go to Vancouver because it's delicious, and it's in Granville Island, which is a great big market tourist trap, which I love. So I make sure to go there every single time. And then I also tried Fuggles and Warlock Brewing, which is over in, Fuggles and Warlock Craftworks, which is over in Richmond, and I'll get into them a little bit later in the video. But to start off with, I want to show you some of my pickups. So first of all, if you've heard of Wonder Project J, I've been kind of enamored with this series for a few years now, for not a great reason, because I haven't played them. It's more just based on the art, and it's kind of a life simulator game. It's made by some of the same people who made Evo on the Super Nintendo, so that also kind of piqued my interest. So I got these guys because at the expo there was a vendor that basically just did imports. They had tons of imports at fantastic prices. It was basically like, oh, is that a boxed Super Famicom game? $10. Oh, is that a boxed Saturn game? $10. Like, it was awesome. Like, they had so many games. And even, like, the loose carts are more like, this was like $5. Like, I couldn't say no to it. So I have Wonder Project J 1 and 2. The second one's on the 64. And first one's on Super Famicom, obviously. And so I'm really excited to try these out, even though it's not really something I can play in Japanese. But I really wanted to own these. I can give it a little try, and if I like them, I can always get, like, the repro. You can get a repro of the Wonder Project J on the Super Nintendo, so it's all translated and everything like that, so I can give it, like, a real go. It seems pretty cool. It gets a lot from the fairy tale Pinocchio. So you are basically, commanding this mechanical boy named Pinocchio, who was made by Geppetto, of course. But it's really cool. He has all these stats. So there's like 16 stats or something crazy, you know, it's everything from attack defense to like feelings and aggression and things like that. So you can figure out how to raise him, which I think is really, really interesting. And I'm really looking forward to giving this series a try. And it also reminds me a little bit of the main character in Ni no Kuni. So walking by this, I've seen this game so many times. I'm always like, oh, I know that guy. No relation at all, but I still love it. And then from the same guy, more Wonder Project J. I also got this really cute strategy guide. Granted, I can't read any of it, but it also has it has a comic in the beginning, and it has a poster. So with the prices this guy had, I couldn't say no to this. And I was in such impulse buy mode when I was at this expo that it kind of got away from me a little bit, and I got quite a few things. So from that same guy, I'm going to have a lot of from the same import guy. I also got Cosmo Game the Puzzle. And I actually grabbed this game partly because of the cover. But then upon looking at it, I realized that the Cosmo Gang it started as Cosmo Gang the Video, which is an arcade shooter. So this is a puzzle game with the same characters from the shooter. So both of these started on the arcade, and then they ported them later for this one, the Super Famicom. So, and it's also like Pack Attack? I hope that's right. But the PacMan Puzzle game is basically a skin of this, but with Pac-Man. So, I'm pretty excited to give this a try as well. And it's so cute! Look at it! Alright. From the same guy, basically almost this whole video is me buying out this guy's table. But anyways, so I also got the Magic Knight Rayearth on the Game Boy. And Magic Knight Rayearth is one of my favorite animes ever. So I only have a few, top animes. So this is one of them. And I have the Game Gear game, and I have the Sega Saturn game. But when I saw this one, I was like, oh, I don't have the Game Boy one. So there's also one on the Game Boy Color. But this one is a turn-based JRPG, really, really similar to the old Dragon Quest games. So, like Dragon Warrior, and so really similar to that with the, top-down Zelda style, getting into turn-based battles. So, again, it's an RPG. I probably can't really play it in Japanese, but I love Magic Knight Rayearth, so I had to get it. And I think a lot of people who collect imports, or at least fawn over imports like I do, and don't speak Japanese, they understand. They're like, oh yeah, I would have bought that too. I probably can't really play it, but I played a little bit of this, and it just made me really happy to have all the characters there, and it was really cool. Alright, and then next up is Popo Rogue, sequel to Popo Lacroix. If you've seen my Gonzilla's Top Cutes video, you know I love Popo Lacroix. So this is the second one that came out in Japan, and I have the first one already in Japanese, and then the one that came out in the US that we got on the PSP is actually a combination of Popo Lacroix 1 and 2. So this is the second one, so I didn't have this one yet. The art's adorable on it. I couldn't say no, basically. It was like $5, so of course I couldn't say no, and it's Popo Lacroix, and I love it. And then next up is Vampire the Night Warriors. And this is the first installment of Darkstalkers, which is a fighting game we got over here, just known by something different in Japan, like a lot of games are. But this is actually, I'm not a huge fighting game person, mainly just because, I don't know, the fighting game is more about competition, where I would way prefer kind of like more co-op kind of gameplay. But this is my favorite fighting game franchise ever. And that's coming from someone who doesn't like fighting games. But I actually do like the way this one plays a lot. I really love all the characters. So I'll probably do a fighting game video down the road sometime and get ready for a lot of Darkstalkers. So again, $5? So I couldn't really say no to it. I don't have this. I can actually play this fine without knowing Japanese. So had to get it. Alright. And then I also got this Super Mario Bros. 3 strategy guide, and it's so cute. A lot of the levels, the little pictures of them, almost look like they're, hand-drawn. Some of them are, little scribbly types of the levels, and it was so cute. And I think he charged me, $3 or $5 for this, so. One thing I think is interesting is that this is number 2. this starts with level 3, and I'm like, you just make a bunch of little baby books? I guess that's a way to, like, get money. But I also couldn't say no. Like, the art in it is all really cute. All of it has little hand-drawn little cartoon guys everywhere. So when I looked through this, I kind of fell in love, and I don't even care that I can't read it. Like, just flipping through this book was so cute. And I was in 100% impulse buy mode. So, I got this. And then I think last thing from Import Guy, I got the Watermelon Red Japanese N64. And this was actually technically not for sale. This was the one he was kind of testing out cartridges, showing people that they worked fine. And it took me like 2 or 3 times talking to him where I'm like, are you sure you don't want to sell that? Because I would gladly buy it. I do now. I didn't have a Japanese 64, so when I saw this there, and I saw a couple other ones at the show, but they were all, like, complete in box, and thus one of them was, like, $400, and I was like, I don't think so. I think I will get this one. So I'm really glad that he eventually decided to part with it for a fantastic deal, since, like, he was like, well, it's not clean, and it doesn't have any cables, and I was like, that's okay. I have all of that, so no worries there. Super happy he decided to part with it. Thank you. All right. And then lastly, it's a game in English. What? I know, all I did was buy imports like this whole time. It's ridiculous. But this is Sin and Punishment, Star Successor Treasure Game. So a sequel to the Sin and Punishment that came out in Japan only on the 64. Kind of a cult classic. So I've been looking for this game forever. For some reason, like, it's not that it's, like, expensive and rare. It's just that I couldn't find it anywhere. And I've played this before. It's super fun. Metal Jesus Rocks actually introduced me to this game, and this game is rad. So it's a rail shooter, and it's really fun. I definitely recommend, if you can find this, check it out. I don't know why I had such a hard time finding it. Every game store I went to, like, went through the Wii section, no Sin and Punishment, every time. So, really, really happy I finally got my hands on this guy. Alright, so that's the games, but now we're going to talk about the beer. And I know I usually break it up a little bit better than this, but I have 2 beers, they're from the same brewery, might as well stick them together. So, first up is The Last Strawberry. This is by Fuggles and Warlock Craftworks. And I visited this brewery on the last day that I was up in Canada, because this is over in Richmond, so a lot more south than Vancouver, kind of by the border. And this place was recommended to me by some people on Twitter, and last year when I was in Vancouver, I got this Persona beer at a bottle shop, and it was by this brewery, so I was like, one of these days, I'm checking this place out. So, and this is The Last Strawberry, obviously a play on The Last Story, and this is a strawberry wit, and it's so good. It does say that it's a Belgian wit, but it doesn't have that kind of, like, strong banana-y Belgian bite to it, so very delicious. It's made with fresh strawberries, and it also says it's sweetened with strawberries and lactose, so milk? I'm guessing it's just, like, kind of a creamy thickening agent, because it does kind of have that, like, strawberries and cream kind of flavor to it. It's so good. It's super refreshing, and I normally am not a huge Belgian person, but this one I could drink all day. Maybe I will. It's delicious. And then next up, also by Fuggles and Warlock, is the Beam Me Up Espresso Milk Stout. And I love on the side it has this little, like, description of it, and it was like, what's a beer geek drink for breakfast? How about espresso and milk? And I was like, yes, deal. And it's awesome alien themed, so yes, please. What's really good about this one is that, like, it doesn't have that, like, faint coffee flavor or, like, a fake coffee flavor. This one is just, like, straight up punch you in the fucking face espresso flavor. It's so good. Like, I don't know how else to describe it besides it's just, like, it's espresso, and it's right there. It's very taste forward. Very, 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 very good. Everything I had at this brewery was so delicious. I had a hard time picking what I was going to bring down. They have like a Persona beer, which is modeled after Persona 4. They have a Destiny IPA. Like, they have so many beers that are so good that, yeah, it was really hard to decide what to bring back with me because I could only bring so much. Um, and of course, one thing I love about going to expos is all the wonderful friends that I get to see and hang out with. So thanks again to John Hancock and Gamester81 and Blurry Gill and all these wonderful people I got to see. And thanks to Brian Hughes for putting this on of Game Deals Video Games. So it was truly wonderful. So yeah, that was my trip to Vancouver. I only had one other thing I wanted to touch on because I forgot earlier. But we went to this place called John's Jukes when we were in Vancouver, and it's a place that basically sells pinball machines and pinball machine parts and things like that. It was just a really cool experience because we got to go in the back room, because I know people, and it just like tons of arcade boards. They're like, oh yeah, that's the Capcom box, and I was just like, ooh, and they had like MVS carts and just like parts everywhere. It was just kind of cool, even though like we weren't there for me. I wasn't the one shopping, but I was just following and just in wonder and awe at this awesome place. And they had like an arcade Atari test station that they were using like as a real test station, not as like a collector's item or something like that. So it was really, really awesome to see like that kind of history still like in a practical use. It was really cool. And then they were like, oh, you like arcades? And then they like showed us these old black and white pictures of arcades. And it was really, really cool to just look around this place. And these people loved pinball machines so much. It was a really good experience. And I'm really glad I got to go there. So yeah, those are my pickups for the Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo. And I think it's definitely one to check out. I always have so much fun at this expo. So you can find me on the internet. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Kinzilla, Kinszilla. You can also now like me on Facebook under the same name. So thanks for subscribing and thanks for watching.